has a different assessment. 3 people with knowledge of a preliminary intelligence report tell NBC News the U.S. strikes only set the Iranian nuclear program back 3 to 6 months and did not completely destroy it, as the president said. President Trump doubled down on those claims today.
We've also spoken to people that have seen the site, and the site is obliterated, and we think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out. It's destroyed. I said, Iran will not have nuclear. Well, we blew it up. It's blown up. To kingdom come.
What is your message then, sir, to the intelligence community when they present reports? You're not disputing the DIA report, you're just...
They presented a report that wasn't finished. We're talking about something that took place 3 days ago.
That was NBC's Kelly O'Donnell questioning the president, and leading us off this hour is NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake in the Netherlands and NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley in Tel Aviv. Garrett, I'll start with you. What more do we know today about the damage at the Iranian facilities?
Well, Ziegler, ironically, both the Iranians and the Israelis, possibly for different political reasons, say the damage was significant. An Iranian atomic agency saying that there was significant damage to the program. The Israelis, in a statement that was amplified by the Trump administration, say that the damage could be enough to set back Iranian nuclear program by several years. The reality is we may not have a full picture for some time. You mentioned that DIA report that was leaked describing the damage as potentially not as severe as the president says. That was issued with low confidence, meaning that there's still a lot of work to be done, including sampling the area around the site and potentially listening in on Iranian conversations to see what they're saying when they don't think anyone is listening about exactly how badly the damage, which seems obvious, actually affected the program longer term.
Garrett, thank you. And to that end, Matt, the ceasefire that President Trump negotiated between Israel and Iran does appear to be holding. So if the Iranian nuclear program is not completely obliterated, as President Trump has said, will that perhaps change Israel's calculus here?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ziegler, and the Israelis have made clear that they will continue to pursue this nuclear program. I mean, as we've heard from the states, the fact is that they did sign this deal, or we don't know if they signed it. We haven't seen a text document, but it sounds as though the Israelis did sign on to the deal on some level, knowing that that would mean the end of the fight, and knowing they hadn't had a full assessment of what it looked like on the ground. We did get that assessment from the Israeli Nuclear Commission, Atomic Energy Commission, agreeing with President Trump that these sites had been destroyed, that they were inoperable, and they said setting back the Iranian nuclear effort by several years. So again, it looks as though the Israelis have very much pitched their tent in Trump's camp on this emerging debate amongst agencies in Washington now. Whether or not that's true, whether or not that means that the Israelis won't be firing after this, the fact is that everywhere the Israelis have made some sort of treaty, they have actually continued to fire. In Lebanon, in the Gaza Strip, they continued hitting people in the West Bank. And this is something that we can expect that they will do, even if they do sign on to some sort of deal to end the fighting.
And of course, there's a major focus on the Middle East right now. But Garrett, what were the other key headlines out of the NATO summit?
Well, the most tangible one you mentioned at the top, Zinclay, this agreement from other NATO nations to increase their defense spending up to 5% of their GDP. This has been an issue that the president has long been outspoken about, going back to the beginning of his political career. He has been pushing for this for some time. The alliance now says all of its European members, plus Canada, are going to have to spend more, going to have to take more responsibility for their collective defense. The president also met on the sidelines of this summit with Ukrainian President Zelensky. Seems to have been a positive meeting based on the president's comments, which, as you know, someone who listens to him speak all the time, he's also much more critical of Vladimir Putin than he's been in the past, suggesting a building frustration here with the Russian leader, who he has said recently might be kind of stringing him along on peace talks. Whether there is a breakthrough on the Ukraine-Russia war or the U.S.'s position in it under the Trump administration is one of the things we'll be following in the days that follow this summit.
Garrett Haake and Matt Bradley, thank you both. Now to a new chapter in space exploration being written right now. 4 astronauts, including 1 American, are on their way to the International Space Station for a special mission. They blasted off around 2:30 Eastern this morning from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. They are aboard a SpaceX rocket, but Houston-based company Axiom is behind the flight. Axiom is one of a few businesses looking to build its own private orbiting space station, as the International Space Station is slated to shut down in a few years. Let's bring in NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello. So, Tom, talk to us about this mission and Axiom's ultimate goal here.
Listen, this is a big deal. This is a private company that is going to build its own space station, everybody. Not just the NASA space station, its own private space station. Now, oh, by the way, they are one of several companies doing this. The idea is to create kind of a floating business and research park, right? So they're going to be doing science experiments, medical experiments in low Earth orbit, and not on the International Space Station, as that is deorbited probably by 2030 or so. And so this is a mission for Axiom, and they are eventually going to start building their modules, and then they'll put the modules together, and it will be floating free in space. So this mission, Axiom 4, excuse me, it includes an Indian astronaut, also one from Hungary and one from Poland, and then the American, who I consider just a space rock star, Peggy Whitson, is the commander of this mission. She holds more time cumulatively in space than any American. 675 days in Clay. She's about to add to that with this 2-week mission.
She truly is a rock star, if I recall. My co-anchor Kate even spoke with her a few years back, so really incredible stuff. Tom Costello, thanks so much.
Okay.
A man charged in connection to the Palm Springs for